Is Tutankhamun one of the most famous pharaohs in history when ancient Egypt tried to erase him completely? He wasn't a great conqueror. He didn't build massive monuments. He ruled for less than a decade, and for centuries, no one even remembered his name. So how did a forgotten boy king become the face of ancient Egypt? This is UNTOLDIA, and tonight we look at the pharaoh who became famous by accident. Tutankhamun was born around 1341 BCE. He was the son of Pharaoh Akhenaten, one of the most controversial rulers in Egyptian history. Akhenaten had done something radical. He attempted to replace Egypt's traditional polytheistic religion with the worship of a single god, Aten. Temples were closed, priests lost power, the capital city was moved. It was a religious revolution. But revolutions create enemies. When Akhenaten died, the kingdom was unstable, and a child, around 9 years old, became pharaoh. That child was Tutankhamun. Later, his name would change to Tutankhamun. The change was not cosmetic, it was political. The new name honored Amun, the traditional chief deity of Egypt. It signaled a return to the old religious system. Temples were reopened, priests regained influence, the capital shifted back. But Tut was still a boy. Real power likely rested in the hands of his advisors. Two men stand out, Ai, the Grand Vizier, and Horemheb, the commander of the army. Tut ruled for about 8 or 9 years. There were minor military campaigns, religious reforms were reversed, but historically his reign was quiet. Then, around age 19, he died, suddenly. For decades, historians debated how he died. Murder? Chariot accident? Assassination? But modern studies suggest something more ordinary. Tutankhamun likely suffered from multiple genetic disorders. Royal families often married within their bloodline. DNA evidence suggests his parents may have been siblings. He may have had a clubfoot, a weakened immune system, bone fragility. Evidence of malaria has been found. He may have died from infection after breaking his leg, not a dramatic assassination, but a fragile body struggling to survive. After his death, Ai became pharaoh. Then Horemheb took power. And this is where the real story begins. Horemheb had no interest in preserving the memory of Akhenaten's controversial religious revolution. He began systematically erasing that period from Egyptian history. Monuments were altered, names were removed, records were rewritten. Akhenaten disappeared from official lists. Ai disappeared, and Tutankhamun was erased with them. Not because he was powerful, but because he belonged to a politically inconvenient lineage. He was absorbed into silence. His tomb, already modest compared to other pharaohs, was buried beneath later construction. Over time, sand covered it. His name faded for more than 3,000 years, until 1922. A British archaeologist named Howard Carter made a discovery in the Valley of the Kings, a nearly intact royal tomb. Most pharaohs' tombs had been looted centuries earlier, but this one was largely untouched. Inside were thousands of artifacts, golden shrines, chariots, furniture, weapons, and the now iconic golden death mask. The world was stunned. Media coverage exploded. Newspapers called it the discovery of the century. Toot fever spread across Europe and America. Exhibitions drew massive crowds. The boy king who had once been erased from memory became a global icon. Not because of his achievements, not because of his empire, but because his tomb survived. History tried to forget him, but archaeology brought him back. Even the famous Curse of the Pharaohs helped. When a few members connected to the excavation died in the following years, headlines blamed an ancient curse. The story was dramatic, mysterious, compelling, and once again, narrative shaped legacy. In truth, most people present at the tomb lived long lives, but the myth was stronger than statistics, and myths travel faster than facts. Tutankhamun's reign was not historically transformative, but his afterlife was. He became the symbol of ancient Egypt. His golden mask became the image people associate with pharaohs. He's remembered more vividly than rulers who built pyramids or commanded armies or expanded borders. Which raises a deeper question. What makes someone famous in history? Power, achievement, or preservation? Tutankhamun's story reminds us that survival often determines memory. He was not the strongest ruler of his time. He was not the most influential. He was not even meant to be remembered. But his tomb survived when others did not. And that changed everything. History does not always reward greatness. Sometimes it rewards accident. And sometimes the most famous king in the world is the one history tried to erase.